Hello everybody, welcome back again for another Bible reading from the Gospel of Matthew, modern English version. We're going to be starting with verse 1 and it is titled The Death of John the Baptist. At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus and said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works are at work in him." For Herod had laid hold on John, bound him, and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John said to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." When Herod would have put him to death, he feared the crowd, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was celebrated, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, and pleased Herod. Sort of makes you wonder what kind of dance she was doing to please Herod. Therefore he promised with an oath to give her whatever she would ask. Being previously instructed by her mother, she said, "Give me John the Baptist's head on a platter." The king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake and those who sat with him at supper, he commanded it to be given to her. He sent and beheaded John in the prison. His head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. His disciples came and took up the body and buried it. And they went and told Jesus. I mean, this is really a grim situation here where some woman conspires with her daughter and says, "I want the head of my enemy on a plate." I mean, that is really gross. And it says that Herod's daughter danced before King Herod. And I'm pretty sure, and some people believe it was a provocative dance that appealed to him in a fleshly, lustful kind of way. Now, we're reading verse 13, the feeding of the 5,000. When Jesus heard this, he departed from there by a boat for a deserted place. But when the people heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. Jesus went ashore and saw a great assembly, and he was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a lonely place, and the day is now over. Send the crowds away to go into the villages and buy themselves food." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to depart. You give them something to eat." They said to him, "We have only 5 loaves here and 2 fish." He said, "Bring them to me." Then he commanded the crowds to sit down on the grass. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke, and gave the loaves to his disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds. They all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of fragments that remained. Those who had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides, or not counting, women and children. So we hear of the feeding of the 5,000, but it's possible that there could have been, some people say there could have been anywhere up to 20,000 people at least, because you think the men, not including the women or the children, so there was more than 5,000. Walking on the water, verse 22. Then Jesus commanded his disciples to get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the crowds away. When he sent the crowds away, he went up into a mountain by himself to pray. And when evening came, excuse me. And when evening came, he was there alone. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was turbulent. During the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went to them, and walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer. It is I, do not be afraid." Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, bid me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." And when Peter got out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." When they crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret, and when the men of that place recognised him, they sent word to all the surrounding country, and brought to him all who were sick. And they begged him that they might touch might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched it were made perfectly well. I remember one Boxing Day many years ago. I believe the Lord spoke to me and said, friends will come and friends will go, but I'll never leave you nor forsake you. And I saw that come to pass. Within months, friends that I had, they went for their own reasons. And it was quite a lonely time. And then it also came to me, which I believe the Lord was saying to me, that I was going to go through some trials and tests. But just like Jesus pulled Peter out of the water and wouldn't let him drown, so he would pull me out of that situation where I was facing a potential drowning in my circumstances. And when we look at Jesus here telling Peter to come and walk on the water, to come to him, and Peter began to look at the waves, he began to look at the wind. He was doing all right, first of all. He managed to walk so far. But then he looks at the circumstances. And what this says to me is that if Peter would have kept his eyes on Jesus and hadn't looked at his circumstances or put them out of his mind and just focused on the Lord, he would have made it all the way. But it was the circumstances, they were overwhelming. You know, you've got to understand it. He was walking on water, which was impossible for a normal person to do. So sometimes when we go through situations, we can sort of think, this is an impossible situation. I can't get through it. I can't face it. And then you've got the circumstances, the waves and the storms all coming at you. And you're saying, I'm trying to look to Jesus. I'm trying to keep my eyes on him. But I can hear the noise of the wind. I can feel the water beneath my feet. And I'm going to drown. And Peter began to drown. But what did Jesus do? He didn't just stand there and say, oh, well, you failed. Your faith was rubbish. He just said, oh, you have little faith. Why did you doubt? And then he reached down, grabbed Peter's hand, pulled him up out of the water, as if he's putting him onto dry land. So that was amazing in itself. The point I want us to see here is that even if we do sink in our circumstances, even if our faith does fail us, okay, God will not allow you to drown and sort of say to you, oh, well, because you didn't have enough faith, you're going to suffer for it. God isn't like, he's not like that. And we know he's not like that, because otherwise Jesus would have just let Peter drown and said, let that be a lesson to everyone. If you don't have enough faith, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. You're going to have to suffer. If you go down, you go under, you get overwhelmed, not my problem, that's your problem. If you had enough faith, it wouldn't have happened in the first place. Jesus will reach down and grab you. Thank God that he will. Okay, well, have a great day. That was Matthew chapter 14. Just a short one today. Yeah, may the Lord bless your day. What is there more to say? Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and to leave a comment and a like and share this video with whoever you want. God bless you all in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Bye-bye.